It's time to talk a little Florida State recruiting. The Noles added a commitment, and now they are inside the top 20. Steve, is FSU recruiting heating up after a busy official visit weekend?
Well, they got a really good shot to land quite a few of these guys that were in Tallahassee spending time with Mike Norvell and the coaching staff over the weekend. Four-star receiver Brandon Bennett from American Heritage. I have an on-3 RPM now logged for Florida State to land the dynamic playmaker that's averaged over 20 yards per catch over the last 2 seasons. And I could see them flipping Devin Carter from Auburn and getting the legacy recruit, a four-star out of Georgia, back in the fold. Those are just two of the guys that they're doing very well with. Four-star linebacker Rodney Colton had a really good visit to Florida State, and another prize linebacker recruit out of IMG Academy, DQ Forkba. He had his meeting with Mike Norvell and said, "This is the place for me." So I think if Florida State can get things squared away from an infrastructure standpoint, they'll be tough to beat for DQ Forkba. Jay Lamar and Carson Baker were two blue chip running backs from the state of Georgia that took their official visits this weekend. Jay Lamar, I talked to him about his visit, said he loved the coaching staff, the way they develop you on and off the field as a man and as a player. Now, Clemson and Georgia are also front runners for Jay Lamar, but I think talking to a source around Tallahassee, there's confidence that they are in great position for Jay Lamar as well. And Carson Baker told our colleague Chad Simmons that Florida State is now running even with Florida. Florida's my on-3 RPM pick. But Florida State giving him a lot to think about. And Texas is another program to watch in that recruitment. Florida State's working to flip Jazavian Currents, the number 8 safety in the country from South Carolina. He's been a verbal to the Gamecocks since October. But Coach Tony White, Coach Surtain, and Coach Cooper in Tallahassee, Florida State haven't given up. He has a clear understanding of how he fits into that defense, and he is definitely attracted to Florida State. And so is the number 9 cornerback in the country, top 100 player, Samari Matthews. He said Coach Surtain is someone he'd love to be coached by. Watched film with them, likes the way that he would be developed. And Coach Tony White, Florida State's new defensive coordinator, and his scheme also really standing out to him. Miami, Texas, and South Carolina are the other players for Samari Matthews.
All right, Steve, before we end this FSU segment, I got to ask you about a 5-star recruit, Xavier Griffin, linebacker out of the state of Georgia. Is Florida State maybe a sleeper team in this recruitment? I don't hear them mentioned much, but you might see that a little differently.
Well, we mentioned them as a program that's definitely in the top 4. And when you're talking about proximity from home and relationship with the coaching staff, which are 2 reasons why he's very high on Alabama, same goes for Florida State. He really feels connected to the Seminole staff. We know that the Seminoles have the infrastructure to make a run at a 5-star caliber guy. And this is a target for them that I think is one of their most coveted players, regardless of position. So Florida State's still in it for Xavier Griffin, who wants to take all of his visits. That's why he decommitted from USC. USC said no more visits. They've gone to the Clemson Dabo Sweeney policy. And Xavier Griffin is one that wants to see his process through. So even though he's coming off a great visit to Alabama, a wonderful trip to Ohio State, he's still working through his process. Texas and Florida State are in play, and the Seminoles are certainly one that he's got a keen eye on as well.